Pathway's vision feels like a cross between Indiana Jones and Advance Wars, with a pinch of roguelike thrown in there for good measure. And the game looks beautiful, however there's definitely some areas for improvement in this ambitious strategy RPG. Turn-based tactics games are making somewhat of a comeback, with popular entries in the genre over the past few years including Gears Tactics, Into the Breach and Wargroove, another fun game from Chucklefish, just to name a few. Pathway is similar, albeit with gameplay mixed in with classic adventure game style, and Pathway is set in the 1930s colonial Africa and also the Middle East, which gives off massive Indiana Jones vibes. In the classic Chucklefish style, the pixel art shouts quality, and the game is absolutely beautiful to look at, and the game is primarily a turn-based strategy game where you have to head up a team of adventurers, crossing the desert, fending off the Nazi enemies as you go. As you make your way across the map, you're presented with a few text-based scenarios which will lead you either into battle or to collect resources, and as well as the narrative choices to make, there's also the inventory management aspect of the game. For example, you're going to have to manage your petrol for your Jeep as you cross the desert, and ammo is also something you're going to need to take note of and manage because your team shares it amongst themselves. You'll also be able to pick up resources at various stop points and stations, but the combination of these systems together does make for a good time and one where you have to pay attention to all the interconnected systems. The one to really pay attention to is the petrol, as walking on foot through the desert definitely isn't fun. The randomization really keeps things fresh, but there could be a little bit of an element of keeping things too fresh, as sometimes the RNG feels a little bit oppressive. To help with this, there are a couple of difficulty sliders, one that weakens enemies and another that lets you start with petrol and ammo, which was a welcome option. Pathway's story is broken up nicely into little chunks, which helps the variety as you do more runs. This is something the game does really well and minimises the repetitive nature for the game each run, and there's 5 campaigns to choose from, all of which resemble similar movie settings like Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is an absolute classic. Similar themes are encountered across runs, for example, battling Nazis or taking on ancient cults, and the story elements sometimes feel a bit of a means to an end, as the lore segments are few and far between. So given you're meant to replay the story over and over again to uncover the many mysteries, it's a shame that Pathway doesn't go into great detail. It's really similar to something like Hades, where you go on a repeatable journey, but unfortunately it just doesn't have that depth of stories that Hades does. So Pathway doesn't really dig too deep into the lore and the characters, and with a game like this it would really go into a lot of detail on each run, so over time you can really build up the tapestry of the characters. We don't really get the opportunity to delve beneath the surface. It's a shame because the cast of characters really show a lot of promise early on. Talking the characters, we've got Baron von B. German, the classic villain monocle wearing type, and also there's Jackson Sheffield, the American adventurer, basically Indiana Jones in all but name. As you accumulate runs, your characters develop and grow over time, and you do get to keep that loot that you find over different runs. You gain XP and level up, plus collect an array of weapons and armour, and characters have detailed stats and skills which generally relate to the weapons that they can use. Some characters do have unique perks and attributes like medical abilities or knowledge of ancient languages, and these moments are few and far between, but it really helps out with the world building element of Pathway, and these are some of the best moments and the most memorable in the game for me. So as you progress with the story, your party grows from 2 to 4 and your array of attacks expands too. And the new party members do mix things up in terms of combat, but also their personalities as well. So combat in Pathway is a pretty straightforward tactics RPG system, and battles take place on a grid, and it's down to you to increase your aim percentage whilst avoiding enemy attacks. Combat is relatively fast paced, which I really appreciated when compared to other tactics games. That is a nice touch. So health, armour, ammo, it's all fairly limited, so it is in your best interest to win quickly. Your party members have got special abilities based on their weapons, and also the armour, plus there's special combat actions which can be used for more potent attacks. So party members who die whilst in battles have to step aside for the next run, unless you pay currency to get them back faster. And while this plays into the whole risk and reward structure of the tactics games, it does mean that it's probably best to level up characters more evenly, otherwise you run the risk of losing your most powerful squad members. This does mean things can move a bit of a slower pace, which does have a bit of a negative impact on the feel of the game. In summary, Pathway does have a lot going for it. The artwork is beautiful, the setting and the characters are really interesting. It's simply that the tactics element and the random nature of the games do give it a few negative points. Though saying that, there's certainly a lot to like here. It has that Chucklefish charm, which runs through a lot of their games that they publish. I'm a sucker for pixel art, and this one got me on that front too. The combination of roguelike elements and the tactical RPG battles works really well early on, but as you keep playing there isn't really enough detail in the storytelling to keep you hooked. However, saying that, if you are a fan of tactics genre and Indiana Jones, then I would definitely give this one a shot. So the game was developed by Robotality, it's published by Chucklefish. It was originally released on the PC, Linux, Mac, but now it's also available on Nintendo Switch, and I reviewed it on Nintendo Switch with the review copy being provided by Chucklefish. And the game on Nintendo Switch was released on the 27th of May 2021, and originally the game was released on other platforms on the 11th of April 2019. Well, that is it for my review of Pathway, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIFVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again, and see you soon.
The story begins when I was on an expedition through northern Africa. I overheard a troop of Nazis talking about an ancient and horrifying weapon called the Wrath of God. Of course, we had to find it first. After a long journey, we finally reached our destination. But that was only just the beginning.